Good morning, Bucknoters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, March 20th, 2026. I am Dave Biddle, very happy joined by Jonah Booker, as usual on Fridays. BTA Fridays takes a different connotation today. My gosh, that was over before we knew it. That last possession for Ohio State yesterday in the NCAA Tournament was just unbelievably bad. You cannot get the ball going backwards when there's 4.1 seconds left. And then the shot you get is a contested mid-court shot. It's unbelievable. And Jake Diebler, Jonah, struggles with this type of stuff. He's not a tactician. I think he's a really good culture guy. I think he's a really good recruiter. He needs an assistant coach who's a tactician, because that was absolutely ridiculous.
It was a product of an inexperienced coach where the moment got a little too big for him, Dave. That was an atrocious call. He explained it. He said that they wanted Thornton to get the pass while sprinting and allowing him to make the final decision. But to me, I don't have him inbounding the rock at all. Let's get it to him that way and then just let him go. And then he wasn't sprinting, so there wasn't any communication on it, but chucking it from half court with 4 seconds to go. I mean, when you look back at the way that the basketball team started the game, Dave, first time that the team has been in the tournament in years. No urgency, just kind of getting bullied by TCU. Give them credit. They did battle back. But, man, you put yourself in such a big hole early on. It was like, hey, wake up, guys. The tournament has started. Let's go. Let's play some ball here. TCU's coming out gunning, and they battle back, man. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? There's a lot of people out here, Ohio State fans, that they're even on Dom Tabari's timeline just crushing Diebler, saying that he's in over his head at a place like Ohio State. They shouldn't have went with a first-year head coach, especially when you had the opportunity to hire coaches out there with experience. What's your thought on Diebler? Do you think that he should be back?
Well, he's going to be back. I mean, you can't go back in time, but I think they should have. I mean, I've been saying it all along, and last night I think put an exclamation mark on it. I mean, Josh Schertz from St. Louis was available. He was at Indiana State. That's the year he went from Indiana State to St. Louis when Ohio State hired Diebler. A couple things. I've been told by sources that all the money they're paying Holtman when they fired Holtman played into this, because Diebler's the lowest paid coach in the Big Ten. I think he makes $2.5 million or something like that. So I don't think they're going to do anything, but I would love to have the St. Louis coach. I mean,
yeah.
He's like the Signetti of basketball. It's he was at Division II level, just won at a crazy rate, won like crazy at Indiana State. He's winning big at St. Louis now. And he's only 50 years old. It's not like we're talking about some guy who's 70 or something. I don't know, man. I mean, Jake is such a nice guy. And like I said, I think he's a great culture guy. I think he's a great recruiter, but he is so far from a tactician. I can't even believe it. He gets out-coached on the regular. I leave so many games thinking, oh, geez, Jake just got out-coached there. And Jamie Dixon's not a great coach by any means. He totally out-coached Jake yesterday. I'm disappointed, to say the least.
Yeah. And they asked Diebler post-game, what are some of the parting thoughts that he wanted Ohio State fans to kind of know about this program and wanted to say? And one of the things that he mentioned was, this is a family atmosphere. And I'm thinking to myself, I go, this isn't football, man. Family atmosphere is great. And it's great when you're actually winning. And the football program, they can get away with the mantra that this is a family atmosphere because they are consistently in national title contention. So when you parlay that of a proven winner to say, hey, we win, but we also do it our way, which is a family atmosphere, as opposed to the basketball team, which is highly inconsistent, haven't won anything in a very long time. You're parting shots and say, hey, this is a family atmosphere. I don't know if a lot of Ohio State fans, right or wrong, they're going to jive with that. But that's a great point about the St. Louis coach. We're talking about BTA, and boy, did they deliver the BTA to Georgia last night. I mean, they absolutely ran Georgia off the court. I mean, it was impressive. And if he can do that at a place like St. Louis, if given the proper resources, and they decide to kind of up their investment at Ohio State with the basketball program. The ceiling is high. And here's the crazy thing too, Dave. There's so many talented young coaches and coaches that are just chomping at the bit for their opportunity to coach at this level. I mean, you see it every year. You see it all throughout the tournament. People mention Dusty May. You look at what he was trying to do. A lot of people initially thought that he wanted that Indiana job, if I'm not mistaken, because that was his alma mater, and Indiana didn't open up in time, or the timing wasn't right. I bet you they probably wish they had Dusty May as well. He was interested in an Ohio State job as well. And you look at what he's doing up in Michigan, and the same thing with a lot of these coaches all throughout college basketball. But hey, they made the tournament. It's a step in the right direction. But you're right. When it comes to being a tactician, he does show his youth and his inexperience when the moments are very big.
By the way, this Robbie Avila from St. Louis, formerly from Indiana State, he followed shirts to St. Louis. The nicknames are hilarious for this guy. I mean, you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, that's just so good. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You got Milk Chamberlain. You got Larry Nerd, Larry Blurred, Kevin McPhail. I mean, my favorite's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for sure.
Yeah. Well, the first order of business, regardless with the basketball, is they got to get Bynum to stay, because I'm sure he's going to have a ton of people out there trying to get him to transfer. He's an absolute stud, so they got to keep him.
Absolutely. All right, let's switch to football. My goodness gracious, because nothing's going to change. I mean, they're not going to get rid of Jake Diebler. I don't even think Ross would have done that if they missed the tournament. He's not going to do it now. So
yeah. Do you think it's more financially, like you mentioned, there's money tied up with Holtman? You think that they're probably also looking at it as, hey, we can't be paying, having two coaches of salaries going out the door and then trying to rebuild the basketball program?
It's been a while, but I was told several months ago by somebody who definitely would know that the Holtman having to pay him all the money for the buyout has definitely affected things with basketball. But they think it's going to get better this next year. They're going to go hard after a point guard. So veteran point guard. We'll see what happens. They're going to make sure Junie comes back. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to talk some football now. Let's start with this. Philip Daniels. I know we had a note in the boarding house about this one of our sources saying that they think Philip Daniels should and will move inside the guard, and Ian Moore will take over as a starting tackle. What do you think about that? Do you think Philip Daniels should move inside, and do you think he will move inside the guard?
I think he should. I think he would be a much better guard. We saw what his ceiling probably is at the tackle position when he's going up against elite pass rushers. I just think Ian Moore's ceiling is way higher, Dave. Incredibly high. Like, to the point that I would be comfortable if Ian Moore was your left tackle and he started and move your left tackle over to your right. Like, that's how high I am on Ian Moore. The fact that he can, anytime they called his number and Moore goes in there and plays at a high clip. Also, anytime he's in the game, he's typically one of your highest graded PFF offensive linemen. Yeah, I know that's not the end all be all, but he is really, really good. And when you look at Daniels and your goal is to try to get the 5 best offensive linemen on the field, some way, somehow, you have to get Ian Moore on the field. And the most logical way to do that is to kick Daniels inside, because I think Daniels career-wise will be better at the guard position at the next level, because there's no way you could look at Daniels right now, Dave, and say, hey, that's an NFL tackle, especially the way that he struggled against Indiana and Miami down the stretch. Now, if you kick him inside and he does really well, you're looking at it, it's like, okay, he's balling on the inside. I feel amazing about my 2 starting tackles right now. They had the ability to potentially be left on the island. Now that gives your offensive line a lot of room. I mean, the right guard position was kind of that anchor around this offensive line and the offense all year, Dave, and it showed up in the biggest moments. So if if you can shore it up with Phillip Daniels, now you're really playing your 5 best offensive linemen on the football field. Now, will they go with that route? Because it almost seems like they have so many offensive line coaches on staff that I'm sure there's probably difference of opinions on how that should go about, because we've heard Ryan Day's philosophy of starting the 5 best offensive linemen. Remember when they had Paris Johnson in at guard? That was kind of like their philosophy there. And I don't know if Ryan Day has really backed off that stance there, but I'm staying with, I would have thought of that's their still philosophy. And if that's still it, then Phillip Daniels needs to be the right guard.
I love the depth, man. Let's say they do kick Phillip Daniels into right guard and then Ian Moore at right tackle. I think that would be a good move. I mean, Gabe Van Sickle's right there. He's not just going to give up right guard to Phillip Daniels. I mean, they've got depth. They like Jake Cook, too. They got Carter Lowe on the come up. We got one of the Armstrong twins left. We got Sam Greer.
Yeah,
man, they've got some serious depth on this offensive line. I love it. I absolutely love it. So,
Sam Greer is an alien. When you see him in the pictures and stuff, Dave, and just think about it. Ohio State, all the offensive linemen at Ohio State are big by regular human being comparison. And then there's Sam Greer, who makes Ohio State, as a true freshman, who makes the current offensive lineman who've been in the program for years look small. It was like, good Lord, is he a monster, man? Like he is once he really knows how to play at this level and he gets his strength up, he's going to be special.
This kid should be getting ready for prom here in a couple of months. He might still be 17 years old. I don't know when his birthday is. I was still 17 at this point, like when I was in high school. Like, that's crazy. Some of these kids that come in, like JJ was 17 when he was a freshman till like he had like a really like late birthday. Like I think his birthday is like in October or something. And I think JJ was like 17 for part of his freshman season. It's crazy how some of these guys come in looking physically strong. Carter Lowe's going the other way in a good way. Carter Lowe was a little overweight last year when he came in, but huge, absolutely huge. He looks great. He's all the way down to 313. I don't know exactly what he was at last year. I want to say like around 340, maybe more than that. I think he was listed at 340. Maybe it was more, a couple burgers more than that. But he's down to 313. He's looking good too. So and they probably won't even play that much this year. Guys like Carter Lowe and Sam Greer, but they're there if needed, and they're going to be huge parts of the offensive line moving forward.
Yeah, and then I think it also goes back to, hey, jump out on teams, get them in the bag, fold them up, and then start getting those next wave of talent in the game. And if you can do that, that's when you really start to develop that back half of your roster, Dave. Like you mentioned, Carter Lowe and the Armstrong twins and all of these guys. And Ryan Day said this is probably the deepest offensive line has been since he's been here. And for him to say that at the podium, that right there tells me that they feel extremely confident with the amount of bodies that they have. And if you can get those younger guys in because you packed away a lot of teams. Now, keep in mind, this schedule's brutal. So it's going to be hard to blow everybody out. But the teams that you're supposed to bag, put them away and get those younger guys in there so you can try to get as many reps. Because if you can do that, I mean, you're talking about a machine here that is self-sufficient as far as, hey, we're blowing teams out. We're getting at least 100 reps for our young guys. And so when their time is called, they're not overwhelmed. The moment's not too big. And those guys are playing at a high level because they can go right in. Ian Moore is kind of the exception to the rule, Dave, to where you call the number of a younger guy, and he goes in and plays at an elite level. That's typically not the case. We saw it at the right guard position against Indiana in the Big Ten championship. He really struggled in that game. But when you look at Ian Moore, when he comes in with a sense of urgency, and he plays like his hair is on fire.
He's a big, strong boy. Maybe not quite as big as Sam Greer, but pretty damn big. Yeah, I like Ian Moore a lot. He's got 3 years left. He was just a redshirt freshman last year, third-year sophomore this year. So love the depth on the offensive line and the experience. You have 91 career starts combined coming back. Most of those with the big three of Saraveld, Montgomery, and Hinsman, but 91 career starts total coming back on the offensive line.
I would love to know where that compares in college football.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if I did more research, I'd be able to tell you,
Yeah. That might be what AI is for, man. Hey.
Yeah. Yes and no. I've had so many times where I just simple stuff like give me the top 10 of this, whatever it might be. Let's say top 10. This isn't the example I actually did, but like let's say top 10 seasons of rushing for Ohio State. Most rushing yards in a season, top 10. Now, it might get it right, but I always have to check because so many times I've done like, either Google Gemini or ChatGPT, and it'll get it wrong. So it's like I don't even use it anymore for work because every time I use AI, I have to double check it. Why do it twice? I just look it up myself on a site that I can trust. So
I know it. You're right. I've done some stuff before, and it's almost like you have to teach the AI somewhat, like the user has to, because it would get like it would get most of the stuff right, and then you'll have situations to where if I'm looking at rosters or something like that, it will give it like a breakdown of like a team. However, it wouldn't, for example, it wouldn't account for a player who's no longer on the roster. And so when I was tinkering around with AI, and I wanted to see how it would do predicting March Madness games, right? And I was just fascinated, and I wanted to do that for like one of my secondary brackets. Like I have my main bracket that I pick, and I was like, let's run these games through the AI and see how it does. Well, the very first game is comparing Duke. However, it's giving an analysis with Cooper Flagg on the roster. And I'm like, and I had to go back and tell it, like Cooper Flagg is no longer on the roster. He's a number one pick for the Dallas Mavericks. Readjust your stuff here. And so it went back and it had to correct it, and then it pulled like the current rosters. And so I had to tell it from now on, look at current rosters of teams before you do your breakdown. And that's a prime example of if somebody just said, hey, AI, give me this, and they just went with it, all of the information that it's reading is incorrect data.
That's exactly right. That's exactly. So it's like, be careful if you're using AI for work. Make sure you double check. Your boss is going to know that you're just doing AI if you have all these mistakes in there. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I have to tell AI, Christian Leitner's not on Duke anymore. That's going way back there. Yeah. That's another one, man, about that 4.1 seconds. What did Duke have against Kentucky? Like 1 second? And they get it all the way down to Christian. I know that was just an unbelievable pass by Grant Hill, but still.
I mean, Tyus Edney. Remember the Tyus Edney?
Right.
4.8 seconds.
Yeah, you've got to get the ball going north-south, 100%. And it doesn't have to go to – I understand Bruce has to be the first option. You have Junie going down one way, have Devin going. Those guys can hit a three. I mean, goodness gracious, that was so stupid. He's got to hire – and we're going to go back to football in a minute. I'm repeating myself. He has to hire a technician as his top assistant coach because that's the thing that's missing. Somebody that is really good with getting cheap buckets from inbound passes. When the bucket, basket's under the bucket, you get a little cheap, like 2 points. That's huge. That's huge. And they don't do that enough. They just get out coached all the time. He's got to bring in a lead assistant that's a tactician. It's just so damn frustrating.
The question is will that North Carolina job open up? Because I don't know how they can bring Hubert Davis back. I mean, he's been kind of mediocre for the most part, and he made a run a couple years ago. But going up 19 and losing to VCU, and North Carolina's end of the game coaching was absolutely abysmal. I mean, you get bounced in the first round of VCU. They had the ball underneath the rim and get a 5-second call, and the coach just lets it go. You're up 2 late in the game. Don't call a timeout when you're about to get called for 5 seconds, and their out of bound play is let's give the ball to our big man off of critical out of bound plays who can't shoot free throws. I know North Carolina fans are sick. That's why I only picked them once to get out of my bracket, because they've been so inconsistent all year that I was like, there's no way they're going to win against Illinois.
I was checking out some of the comments from Carolina fans. You're right. They're over it. If you think that we're like – Debo's only been here 2 years, really, as head coach. Had that interim head coach there for a few games the previous year. They're over Hubert Davis. That's too bad because he's a former star player there, but – yeah, not working out well. Started out well with Hubert, and it has not gone well since then. That might be the final straw. We'll see. Him being a former star player might give him another year, but it's Carolina, though, man.
It's Carolina. They can go get the best of the best. I mean, that's that's their Ohio State football to them, to those fans. Like that right there is what is going to really butter the bread at that place. So if they can't get right, they're not going to stand for that for very much longer, especially when you get out coached like that. It's like, it's one thing, it's like, hey, we made a run, we gave our best effort. I know they had their best player hurt right before the tournament started, but still, you're up 19, brother, against VCU, close the game out. And that's been one of their biggest inconsistencies in North Carolina was closing games out. We'll see what Kansas does today, because Kansas is kind of in that same boat with Peterson, because anytime he's in the game, the ball just stops, and they look like they were playing better throughout the season whenever he was doing all of that. Let's sit out because I have the flu, I have cramps or whatnot. Whenever he wasn't in, Kansas was playing their best basketball. Now they look absolutely abysmal heading into the tournament as well.
Especially if Duke makes a run, although they were shaky against Siena yesterday. That's going to make it even more hard for Hubert Davis and the Carolina fans. 8 miles down the road, your rival's doing great, and you're blowing leads. All right, let's go back to football to finish the show. Kenyatta Jackson Jr., I think, had a really good year last year, right? Is that fair to say? He was really good.
He was good. I thought he was for sure going to the NFL. Like he probably would have been picked no later than the 3rd round, Dave. Because if you look at his ceiling, he definitely NFL caliber.
No doubt about it. He had 6.5 sacks last year. I thought he had a really good year. I agree. I think he probably would have been a 3rd round pick. He's probably getting more money. This is the NIL stuff. Instead of being a 3rd round pick, he's probably getting more money staying at Ohio State than he would be as a 3rd round pick, which is still insane to me, but it's good for the kids. And it helps bring guys back. I mean, the national championship year, although I don't need to go through all of them, but like JT and Jack and all those guys that came back, Donovan Jackson, that came back for an extra year, they all would have left in previous years. They all would have turned pro. Even if they would have been like a 4th round pick, they would have left. And they all came back. That's a good thing about NIL. All right, here's my question for you, because Kenyatta is like the spokesman of the defense now, which I love. We got Julian Sayin and we got Kenyatta. They about one guy for the defense, one guy for the offense, and I love that. And Kenyatta, kind of an easy choice as a 5th-year senior. Can he go from really good to like Chase Young? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't have to be necessarily Chase, but you know what I mean? Can he go from really good to like he is an absolute force?
Yeah. I would say I would consider Chase Young level was so absurd. And that's like chasing like the unicorn. But I get what you're saying. So defensive end is going to be dominant. And I would say, can you go from 6 sacks to double-digit sacks? And if you can get to double-digit sacks, now you're really talking about being a force and a difference maker. And I say yes, he can. But the only caveat that I would say that could potentially slow that down is because I do feel like they're deeper on the edge this year with some of the transfer and the younger guys. Are they looking at a situation with this schedule, Dave, to where he's going to be rotating more to try to keep him fresh throughout the season? Because Larry Johnson has said, lo and behold, he'd rather for guys to have 27, 28 reps to where they give it their all, as opposed to someone who's going 65, 70 reps. And by the time they get up to that, 49, 50, they're kind of gassed. That's the only thing. But I do think that he's going to be a double-digit sack guy, because the defensive line should be much better this year. I know K-Mac is gone, but when you look at the talent that they have in, especially with the Alabama transfers, it's going to free him up. You're not going to be able to double team him. Now, the Big Ten has to be able to call some holding sometime, Dave. I mean, this guy gets absolutely tackled and they refuse to call a hold on him. Like, remember the old back in the days how Shaq would just get hammered in the paint when he was playing for like the Lakers, and the refs would rarely call a foul until it absolutely became obvious to where it was like hack a Shaq. But for the most part, he would just get hammered, and the refs be like, "You're Shaq. We're not going to call that every single time." And he would just absolutely get mugged. That's kind of the situation when you look with Kenyatta Jackson, when he's been in that arc. Like, he's so big, he's so strong. that offensive linemen just absolutely mug them and tackle them and take them down. And the refs look at it and was like, sorry, I can't give you this call. And he's like throwing his hands up like, what is this no call nonsense? But for him, I think Matt Patricia's also going to elevate his game. And there's been times to where he has been post-practice working on hand placement, working on technique with not only Larry Johnson, but Matt Patricia. But this is a big year for him. It's a money year. When you talk about money years for a lot of guys, Dave, they tend to bring their game to the next level because they know if I can get to those double digits, I'm potentially a first-round pick next year.
His body looked great last year. When we talked to him, he said he's focused on just taking his body to the next level.
Yeah.
Like he said he's gained like 8 good pounds of like muscle mass. He's lost body weight or lost body fat. And again, his body looked like pristine last year. So he's 6'6", 265, and he's straight out of Central Casting. I think I'm with you, man. I think he's gonna be.
Here's a question for you. Is he a first off the bus guy? You roll up to the stadium and you want to intimidate him, and so you send your most imposing looking player. Give me your top 5 first off the bus on the Ohio State roster. Is Kenyatta Jackson in there?
Like, yeah, he's in there for sure. Like, I don't want to have too many true freshmen in there, but I think the aforementioned Sam Greer, even though he's a true freshman, would be among the first 5. Maybe a Carter Lowe, and a few, maybe a Jameer Perez, another.
I'm about to say Jameer Perez.
That's my guy, man. I don't know if it's going to be as a true freshman, but I have a good feeling Jameer Perez is going to be a dude here. Like, I love those big one techs, and he's taking care of his body. Like, I was told, he's going to be like 360 pounds. He's not. He's like 330 or something like that. He looks good. I like my one text with a little floppy belly, as we say. So, right. I'm trying to think who else. Would be maybe a Saraveld. He's a big, strong boy.
But if you look at Jeremiah Smith and you're like, that's a wide receiver.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's the end, right? No, that's
wide receivers aren't typically built like a Jeremiah Smith, Dave.
Oh man, I love it. All right, we do have one question I want to get to real quick because I think this is a good question. Tyler says, I've got a serious question. Why do all Buckeye fans that are part of the lunatic fringe? I hate that that's become a thing when Kirk Herbstreit's making fun of Ohio State fans. Let's stop using lunatic fringe. That was Kirk getting mad that Ohio State fans were being mad to him, saying mean things to him on social media, so he had to fire back because he's thin-skinned Kirk Herbstreit, lunatic fringe. All right. Remember Kirk was saying that he thought that Ohio State shouldn't even host the game against Tennessee? How'd that work out? Yeah, how'd that work out? All right, he says Buckeye fans that are negative, they're saying Julian's going to drop off a cliff this year. He says, I think he's far better than he was last year. I agree with your point, Tyler. I think Julian, however good he was last year, he's going to be better this year. He had 0 starts coming into last year. They let him throw the ball 20 times the entire game against Texas. Okay. He was a Heisman finalist as a redshirt freshman. He's like 14 starts under his belt now. This kid's going to have a huge year, in my opinion.
I know a lot of people are a little sour in the mouth with the way things ended with Julian. But to put things into perspective, Dave, it is so hard to be a Heisman finalist in college football as a redshirt freshman, especially at the quarterback position. I mean, most teams will cut off their fingers to have a quarterback with that type of production. And what is the rule of thumb that we've seen all throughout Ryan Day's tenure? When he gets a quarterback on the second year in his system, that quarterback always ascends to the next level. I mean, you've seen it with Fields. You saw it with Stroud. Those guys that were able to play and get a lot of meaningful snaps that first year. That next year, they took another step. I think you're going to see it with Julian Sayin here. Now, and here's the one thing that a lot of people have to keep in mind. Keeping Billy Fessler there as his quarterback coach, the same coach who's been in his ear that's in his meeting room, is critical. Because when you look at Julian Sayin, he had Chip Kelly his very first year as his play caller. He had Brian Hartline as his play caller. Now he has Arthur Smith. So that's 3 OCs in 3 years. A lot of people will look at that and say that could be tough for a young quarterback. Well, the one consistency that is there is Billy Fessler. So Billy Fessler kind of being that cushion, that intermediary for him, I think will play big with his development. And having Ryan Day there also is going to help him. So that second year jump is to be expected for a quarterback. So I'm not down on Julian. I think he's going to have a big year. The question is will they let him do his thing? Because the more opportunities he has, the better he's going to get. There were a lot of times that I felt last year too, Dave, that they had him on sort of a leash. I don't know if it was the pace of play that made it look that way because they were operating so slow at times. But there were a lot of times where I was frustrated. It was like, hey, man, this kid has done absolutely nothing to have a leash on him. Like, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks since Joe Burrow at LSU as far as his completion percentage. Just let him do his thing because he hasn't done anything to show that he should have a leash on him. So if they're allowing him to be more aggressive this year, Dave, then he's definitely going to have a big year. I'm still very bullish on Julian Sayin.
Heck yeah. Very well said, as always. Thank you, sir. I hope your picks go well today and hope you have fun.
All right. Games start here in a couple hours.
Heck yeah. I'll be back at the Hollywood Casino again today. My home away from home, doing watch parties from 12 to 5 every day, first 4 days of the tournament. We have a blast out there. I got a chance to be in Sage, Ohio yesterday. Okay. That was really cool. So if anybody's in the chat, it's a great place to watch. If you're in Columbus, it's like the best place to watch the game is the sports book. I mean, with the huge TVs and I like sports bars in general. This is takes it to the next level, and you can bet if you'd like to. It's great.
You living a good life, sir.
Oh Fridays. Man, well, I'm not in Scottsdale, Arizona, so maybe one day I'll get on your level. But
bro, it is brutally hot out here right now, like record temperature hot, like in the hundreds in March, which is. It's supposed to be spring season. Right now, this feels like it's June out here. I'm like, goodness gracious, it's supposed to be like 100, and then all next week in the high 90s. I was like, it's way too hot this early in the year right now. Like, even Los Angeles, it was getting like 98 degrees, and Pasadena was getting like 97 degrees. And those folks, they don't even have air conditioning. Like, it's a heat wave out here on the West Coast, man.
Man, spring has sprung at the right time here. It's going to be high of 69 today in Columbus. Tomorrow, high of 66 and sunny. Get this, Sunday, 80 degrees high in Columbus. This is the worst winter I can remember. So, man, this is long overdue.
All right, that's fire up the grill weather there, Dave.
There you go, baby. There you go. Give me some steaks. All right, man. I appreciate it as always, Jonah.
Thank you. All right, talk to you later, my friend.
All right, buddy. Great stuff as always from J-Book. BTA Fridays. Ugh. Every time I think about that last possession, I get angry. I just cannot believe that was the last. Bruce was almost out of bounds when he caught the ball. If you didn't see the play, I'm sure like 99% of you did. If you didn't see the play, he catches the ball, and I thought he was like going to be called out of bounds on the baseline. That's how far backwards he was going. He caught the ball basically out of bounds under their own basket, roughly. And then had to go the length of not the length of the floor. He only made it to half court, and it wasn't even a half court shot with nobody in his face. He had like 2 defenders there. That is the worst. And that was coming out of a timeout too. How bad is that? They drew that play up. I know Jake afterwards tried to spin it and say, no, that was the play. You have to make sure 100% you get somebody the ball going north-south there. 100%. Or you lob it down the Christian Laettner style. But they had plenty of time. They didn't need to lob it down Christian Laettner style. That would have been better than what they did. You got to find – it doesn't have to be Bruce. You got to get the ball going north-south and you have plenty of time to get a good look at a three there. Plenty of time. Does that mean you're going to make the three? No, it doesn't mean you're definitely going to make the three. But once they got up by 5, when Ohio State's down by 15 at halftime, then they get up 5 with like 5 minutes. Like, geez, they just switched this around 20 points. TCU looked shook. I'm like, they got him. They got him by the throat now. But they didn't. They didn't have him by the throat. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. And it leads – it takes away a lot of the excitement I had about the basketball program moving forward because Jake just seems like he's in over his head. I don't know how you can spin it. I would love to hear a counter argument to that because he gets outcoached all the time. All the time is a I'm exaggerating. A lot, way too much he gets outcoached, including yesterday. All right. And I know that the players deserve a lot of blame too. I'm not excusing that. But, the coach has to be better than that. And Josh Schertz would have been a great hire for this program. Ugh. Like Jonah said, they made Georgia look like a bad D3 team. Georgia's an 8 seed in this tournament. Pretty good year in the SEC for Georgia and a really good conference. And St. Louis just absolutely destroyed them. It was embarrassing for Georgia. All right. Great stuff from J-Book. And hopefully you guys, your brackets do well today. Now we can focus on all the other teams now that our Buckeyes have been eliminated. How about this? Go Wright State against Virginia today. I'll leave you guys with that. All right. Thanks to J-Book. Thanks to all of you. Go Bucks.